500 million. I believe I would probably put 300 million into German residential and 200 million into offices in CBD or closer areas in Stockholm. If I would invest into the Nordics, which we would love to do, I would take Stockholm still. Being a core investor, it is the more likely, and being very heavily invested in Finland and seeing, hedging costs and also being difficult. I'd love to do more in Oslo, but I think Stockholm still has value to it. It has a long-term reliability track record and moving forward a good history. And German residential at the moment, you can't even sell or lease it quick enough as it's being built. Again, be very cautious of where and what urban areas, but you take the top four, and I think you'd be doing very well in the long run.
Great, Thomas. I would look only towards the Nordics. Maybe I would split the 500 million in accordance with the liquidity of the different markets. The most part goes into Sweden, and I like retail. I like retail, maybe not only the dominant shopping center in Stockholm, maybe dominant local retail, big box or shopping centers. Then Finland and Norway being the second, third largest markets. We have done a great logistic deal in the first half, and with very, very long leases and stay tenant, yielding quite well. I think that could be an opportunity to invest in. And when it comes to Norway, I think that's similar to Sweden. I would also go into retail, either in that case high street retail in Oslo, where you can still get a decent product and a decent return, or also on regional big box retail. People need to eat. Yeah, if you have a Coop anchor tenant, 20 years or 15 years lease agreement, it's a perfect return.
Good, Andrew. I like the Nordics, and I personally have a house and an apartment here, and they've done exceptionally well over the past 10 years. I think I'd be very strong on resi in all over the Nordics. I was in the Baltics last week, and if you take a place like Lithuania and you look at, say, the Baltics versus Finland, and some people have been negative, some people have been positive on Finland. What's interesting to me is when I was in Lithuania last week is if you look at banks like Barclays or DNB Nor, or there's so much outsourcing, which perhaps you've seen in Central and Eastern Europe before, but there are tower cranes aplenty in Vilnius with outsource centres for some of these large banks. And I think I would like to place some capital into either a listed product or alongside an investor that is on the ground there in that part of the world. I'm very strong on industrial, and I think, and when I say industrial, probably more so logistics. I think the reason for that is we haven't seen it so much in the Nordics as we have in the UK or in other parts of Europe, but I think the change in people's shopping desires and the way people, say in the UK, you would know this yourself, Richard, the way people buy off Amazon and how it's delivered the next day, that's having a tremendous impact on the way logistics is working. And when I go around here in the Nordics and I speak to tenants like PostNord or to Bring or to some of these bigger parcel delivery crowds, all of them want more space. All of them are having increased flows of parcel goods, etc., and those things are massively changing. So I think that sector in itself, but it depends on how long your investment profile is. So I think on the residential play, if you're going to be, I would have had to have thought that over the next 10 years there's going to be some ups and some downs, but I think you would do very well out of that side of things. So for me, it's all residential, it's all industrial. And when I mean industrial, it's more on the logistics side of things. So that's where I am.